The Trump administration's new tariffs sent shockwaves through the corporate world, sparking immediate concern and uncertainty among executives and investors alike. As the news broke, business leaders scrambled to assess the potential fallout, while the stock market responded with sharp drops, reflecting widespread anxiety about the future of trade and consumer prices. Major brands like Adidas, Nike, Macy's, and Ford quickly issued warnings, alerting the public that the increased costs from these tariffs would soon be passed on to consumers. Shoppers browsing their favorite brands were now faced with the reality that the price tags they saw today might be much higher tomorrow. The tariffs specifically targeted goods imported from key manufacturing countries, causing significant disruptions to global supply chains. Companies found themselves forced to rethink their entire pricing strategies, as the cost of raw materials and finished products surged almost overnight. For Adidas and Nike, the impact was especially severe. Both companies projected hundreds of millions of dollars in additional expenses, as the cost of producing and importing athletic gear soared. Executives pored over expense charts, searching for ways to minimize the blow, but the numbers were daunting. Automakers like Ford also braced for the impact, preparing to implement targeted price hikes on new vehicles. The increased tariffs on auto parts and components meant that even the most popular models would soon carry higher price tags, affecting both dealers and buyers. Retail giants such as Walmart and Macy's made it clear they couldn't absorb all the new costs. As a result, they signaled that price increases at the register were inevitable, leaving everyday shoppers to shoulder the burden of these policy changes. Even online shopping platforms like Shein and Temu, known for their low prices, warned customers to expect higher costs. The digital marketplace was not immune, demonstrating just how far-reaching the effects of the tariffs would be. The collective warnings from these companies sent a powerful message. Tariffs weren't just abstract policy decisions. They were about to have a direct and tangible impact on Americans' wallets, affecting families across the country. With household budgets already stretched thin, many consumers braced themselves for the coming wave of price hikes. The stage was set for a tense period of adjustment as Americans prepared to navigate a new era of higher costs on everyday goods. In a move that captured national attention, Walmart took a bold public stance, stepping into the spotlight of a heated economic debate. The retail giant issued a clear warning. New tariffs on imported goods would force them to raise prices across thousands of everyday items, directly impacting millions of American families who rely on Walmart for affordability. This announcement challenged their iconic everyday low prices promise, a core part of Walmart's identity, and left many loyal customers anxious about their household budgets. President Trump quickly fired back, publicly insisting that Walmart, as a massive corporation, should absorb the increased costs themselves instead of passing them on to shoppers, framing the issue as a test of corporate responsibility. This public clash put Walmart in a tough spot, caught between the harsh economic reality of rising costs and mounting political pressure from the highest office in the country. The confrontation highlighted the significant risks companies face when they speak out about the real impact of government trade policy, especially when their statements contradict the administration's narrative. Walmart now had to carefully balance its commitment to transparency with the risk of damaging its reputation, alienating customers, and escalating conflict with the White House. A delicate dance in the public eye. Analysts noted that Walmart's brand, built on trust and low prices, was especially vulnerable to negative perceptions if price hikes became widespread, potentially eroding decades of customer loyalty. This episode became a defining moment in the ongoing tariff debate, vividly illustrating how business interests, political agendas, and public opinion can collide in unpredictable ways. Ultimately, Walmart's stand shed light on the real effects of trade policy, not just for corporations, but for everyday consumers, sparking a national conversation about who truly pays the price when economic policies shift. While Walmart was outspoken, retailers like Home Depot and Target took a quieter approach, downplaying immediate price hikes in public. Home Depot hinted at selective price changes, while Target called increases a last resort, aiming to avoid public conflict. Their flexible pricing strategies and diverse product mixes allowed them to absorb costs more discreetly, Small, targeted adjustments helped them manage expenses without alarming customers or drawing political fire. This contrast showed how each company navigated the political and economic minefield in its own way. The lack of a unified business response left each retailer to chart its own course through the tariff storm. Companies faced a tough balancing act: be honest with shareholders about rising costs, but avoid provoking the White House. Many executives used vague language about headwinds to sidestep direct criticism and avoid becoming a presidential target. The absence of collective action from business groups left individual companies exposed to political backlash. This climate of caution chilled corporate speech, disrupting normal communication between business leaders and the public. Companies weighed every word for both market and political impact, often leaving the public to read between the lines. The result was a communication vacuum, with the true effects of tariffs revealed only in hints and indirect warnings. The polarized environment made it risky for any company to be too transparent about the economic fallout. In the months after the tariffs, Walmart quietly raised prices on select items, like frying pans, jeans, and car seats, mostly those sourced from China. Most prices stayed stable, with only targeted hikes on goods directly hit by tariffs. This surgical approach let Walmart manage costs while protecting its low-price reputation and avoiding widespread sticker shock. Pinpointing the exact cause of each price change was tricky, as other factors like raw materials and demand also played a role. Still, Walmart reassured customers of its commitment to low prices, even as it navigated rising costs. The real-world price changes showed how tariffs moved from policy to the checkout aisle, but not in a simple, across-the-board way. The tariff impact spread beyond Walmart. Retailers like Best Buy and Costco raised prices on electronics and other China-sourced goods. Yet, not all prices rose. Some items, like Barbie dolls and eggs, actually got cheaper due to unrelated market forces. This mix of rising and falling prices created confusion for consumers trying to gauge the tariff's true effect. Some categories, like coffee, saw price hikes from both tariffs and global supply issues. The overlapping causes made it hard to pin every price change on tariffs alone. The result was a patchwork of adjustments, not a uniform wave of inflation. Retailers and consumers faced a dynamic, unpredictable market shaped by both policy and global events. The period underscored how tariffs interacted with countless other variables, complicating the economic picture. To soften the blow of tariffs, retailers across the country turned to a variety of clever tactics, demonstrating both creativity and adaptability in the face of rising costs. One of the most common strategies was front-loading inventory, essentially bringing in as many goods as possible before new tariffs officially took effect. By doing this, retailers could stockpile products at the lower, pre-tariff prices, giving themselves a buffer against sudden cost increases. This meant importing large shipments ahead of schedule, often resulting in crowded ports and warehouses as retailers raced to beat the deadline. The sight of cargo ships unloading containers and trucks delivering goods became even more frequent, as companies worked overtime to secure their supply chains before tariffs hit. Another key tactic involved storing products in customs-bonded warehouses or duty-free zones. By keeping goods in these special areas, retailers could delay paying import taxes until the items were actually needed on store shelves. This approach allowed them to postpone price hikes for customers, buying valuable time to adjust their pricing strategies and manage inventory more effectively. These measures helped retailers avoid immediate price jumps, especially during critical shopping periods like the holiday season, when demand for imported goods, particularly from Asia, tends to spike. However, industry experts cautioned that these solutions were only temporary. Once the pre-tariff inventory was depleted, retailers would have no choice but to pass on higher costs to consumers. While these stopgap measures showcased the industry's agility and resourcefulness, they also underscored the inevitability of higher prices in the long run. As the true impact of tariffs rippled through the economy, both retailers and shoppers braced for further adjustments and challenges ahead. Looking ahead, business leaders across industries remained uncertain about the long-term effects of tariffs. While higher prices seemed inevitable, the impact on consumer behavior and the broader economy was unclear. Even luxury brands like Ferrari and Hermes adjusted U.S. prices, showing the tariffs' reach across all market segments. The era of tariffs forced companies to rethink supply chains and pricing, creating a more expensive and unpredictable marketplace. The Walmart-Trump conflict became a symbol of this new reality, where economic fundamentals and political pressures collide, leaving businesses and consumers to navigate an uncertain future.